All right, good evening. It is Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024, approximately 8:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just wanted to do a quick update video. Again, just some tips or what have you. Give you a look at the trades or the trade that I took today. And actually, I took two. One I got stopped out, and the other was a winning trade, leaving me profitable for the day. But I wanted to show you how that transpired and, kind of what I got out of it for the day. So without further ado, let me share my screen. All right. Okay. All right. Here, as you can see, this is UJ, USD, JPY, the 1 hour chart. And as you can see, so what ended up happening, price was coming into this. There was coming into the zone here. Actually, this resistance area here last night, and I'm gonna do a playback so you can see exactly what it looked like. Let's do that now. Let's do that right now, so you can see what the thought process was at the time and then show you what happened. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna play this from 5 o'clock yesterday, right? So we see we had this bounce off this 4 hour resistance, okay? So let's play that forward a little bit. And all right, this is the part I wanted you to see. So right around 9 o'clock p.m. yesterday, last night, right? You see that price came into this resistance zone. So the trade setup is once price starts to enter our zones, right, our points of interest, on the 1 hour, which is our analysis time frame, we drop down to the 5 minute for our actual entry. And so that's exactly what I did. Let me share that part, share that screen with you. Okay, so we're gonna share that. So let's go. So this is the 9 o'clock candle. So we're gonna go over here to our 5 minute time frame, which is our entry time frame, and let's see what that looked like. So remember, the trade setup is basically once prices enter in our zones, right, on the 1 hour, we go to the 5 minute for our entry, right? And the entry is then based off of a sell signal. Or for this one, it would have been a sell signal. So I just don't have the actual labels on here, but I know that when for the UTBots alerts, uh for the UTBots alerts indicator, the red candle indicates a sell and the green candles indicates buy, right? So price came into our area here, and we got the signal on this candle. So the thought process was that price was going to continue to fall and move down to this area. Um, but that was not the case. What ended up happening, so I put in a sale and price did move down a little bit, but not all that much, right? So we put in the sale and it moved a few pips in our direction. Um, but then uh quickly retrace, back into our zone again. So basically, what happened or what was happening was there wasn't enough liquidity for a price to, do a continued down move. What I could have done and what I should have done is taken into consideration the liquidity that was in that zone. And I'm going to show you what that looked like. So we're going to go back and we're going to share. So basically, what we have to consider in our trade setups and our entries, right, is even in our zones, we want to consider the again, that's why we have the indicator on here, the liquidity that's kind of associated with that zone. And so I'm gonna go ahead and continue to play forward. And what you're gonna see is that before price moves to the downside, because it eventually did, it took the liquidity. So it did a liquidity sweep, right? Of that this high right here. So these highs. So it swept the liquidity of these highs. And what happened, you'll see, I'm about to play it forward, where price was attracted to this liquidity zone here, and it mitigated it, pushed past it just a little bit, just enough to grab those stop losses that was sitting right there in that area, in the form of buy orders. Right. So those stop losses were in the form of buy orders, which were needed for the sell orders to come in and push the market down to the desired direction. So I'm gonna play it forward and you'll see where that actually played itself out. Right there, right? So I'm gonna pause it again. Excuse me. So as you can see, so right around, so it was the um the 2400 candle, 12 o'clock AM candle that actually purged that liquidity area. And you see it just enough to initiate those stop losses that was sitting up there in that area. And so once it mitigated that liquidity, it was able to then begin its push, its orchestration to the downside. And so we're going to go ahead and continue to play that forward and see what that looks like. So basically, as you can see, once price grabbed the liquidity, right, that was sitting the top, right, of this zone, it was sitting right on top of this supply zone here, right? It grabbed that liquidity. Once it was able to grab that liquidity and put those sell orders against it, we started our orchestration for the move to the downside. And we see we got our cross, right around 3, 4 o'clock, momentum and everything starts to pick up, but not before it was able to get that liquidity. So the lesson for me was, and I wanted to share this with you, that even in our zones, right, the trade setup was good, everything looked good, momentum was there and everything. The one thing that I did not consider in that trade setup was the liquidity that was sitting right there in that zone. So basically, whenever we have liquidity associated with our zone, we want to give price an opportunity to mitigate and purge that liquidity before we put our trade in. So we'll continue to watch this play out, and you'll see. Now, here's what I did. So I missed the opportunity, right, for this move right here, right? I was in, but I ended up getting stopped out, right? I didn't have my stop loss was actually right here at the top. It was really right there. So I end up becoming the liquidity at that point for the move because I had my stop loss right there at the top. So and that's what you don't want. You want to follow the liquidity and not be the liquidity, right? So so of course, so I missed that. So that was that trade right there. Lost a couple $100, not a big deal. Risk to reward, right? So not a lot of risk in the grand scheme of things. So I said I'll wait for the next setup. So same thing. This is all I'm doing. This is all I'm looking for these trade setups, right? I saw a price coming down once again, and see now we have an even bigger zone, which means we have even more orders. And this is a 4-hour resistance zone. So this is the one where price is actually coming back and testing the resistance that was pushed through, and now price is coming back and testing that area. You see, it's the top, that high right there, that price is coming back. Price broke that high right there yesterday, right, as it pushed through, and now it's coming back to test that zone right there. So and seeing that, this was the 9 AM candle. So we got 9 to 9, right? So the 9 AM candle. I then again dropped down, and let me share my chart. Real easy setup, real easy trade setup, right? So I dropped down to the 5-minute, So we said that 9 o'clock candle, and all I did, real simple, right? All I did was wait until I got the sell signal right there. So I had the cross here on the momentum, right, on the oscillator, and then I got the buy signal right here at 950. At 950, I got that buy signal. I was in the trade and I rode it all the way up. So this one ended up netting me. Yep. 29 pip move. And I ended up closing out at the top of that move right there. Because I wasn't sure exactly what it was going to do after that. So I figured I didn't know if it was going to get back to this 1 hour resistance or not. I didn't want to bank on that. So I just, closed out with profit. And this actually ended up being roughly it was a little bit, it was close to what was it? $600. It was like close to a $600 trade. So again, the risk, I risked like 300 something bucks, and ended up getting, on the winning side of things, I ended up getting 600 or something. So overall profitable, roughly about 300 or so dollars for the day, on the day. That's with the loss, and then with the win. So, but again, the point is to illustrate the trade setup and how we look to take the trade. So I saw, price came into here again, dropped, went into drop down to this time frame, 5 minute time frame, got my buy signal, got in the trade, and that was that. That's it. That was the lesson for today that I wanted to share. I thought was very important because, these are, things that play out, basically on the daily basis that we have to consider. Again, the big lesson was taking into consideration the liquidity that was associated with that particular zone and order block or what have you. So we're gonna go ahead and let this play. And you see pretty much what price did, throughout the rest of the day. I didn't take any more trades, after that, obviously. I feel like once I'm profitable, I'm good for the day. I'll just wait for the next trade setup and, just play it again. We'll run it back, right? So we see that we have liquidity sitting here and we have liquidity sitting here. So between these two liquidity points, we'll see which one price, goes to first. Yep, we got close to 50 pips, so 45 or so pips, 47, right? If price grabs this liquidity, then we can look if it comes back into this zone. So we got this 1 hour support and still on top of this 4 hour resistance. So if price comes back and tests this entire area right here, we know that we got the liquidity sitting right in between right there, right? So we'll look for price to grab that liquidity, and we'll drop down to the 5 minute for our entry, and we'll wait for our entry signal with the UTBots alerts, if that be the case. Or if price comes up and tests this 1 hour resistance, we're going to do the same thing. But this time we're going to wait for it to grab that liquidity. So we have liquidity with the other liquidity indicator. We have liquidity right here, and we know we have this resting liquidity sitting at the top of this zone right here in the form of stop losses or what have you. So we're going to be patient and wait for a price to give us what we're looking for the continued move to either the upside or the downside. And we'll play it the same either way it goes. So I hope that little tidbit of information was helpful, and you can, hopefully duplicate this with whatever instrument you're trading with. Pretty much, some things, will have to change, just depending on the instrument, things like that. For let's just take a look. We'll take a look real quick because I did look at GJ to kind of get an idea, because again, this strategy or this process is not limited to, just UJ. It's a strategy, a process that can be utilized with any trading instrument. So here we see that right now we don't have any resistance. So the idea would be to wait for price to come back and test this 1 hour resistance level. Then you have a 1 hour support here as well. I don't see, it looks like it just mitigated this liquidity maybe. Probably, yeah, looks like it just mitigated some liquidity here. So it could come back and test this liquidity zone right here. So it'd be interesting to see, but the next trade, so it looks like GJ is bullish, right? So we want to trade in the direction of the overall trend. So what we would look for is for price to come back and test this 1 hour resistance zone, or if another zone is created or something like that. But we'll look for price to test the zone before we get in on a possible buy move. So on GJ, you can play it the exact same way. Once price enters your zone, go down to the 5-minute time frame and look for your entry signal. Make sure you have momentum and all of that stuff. Let's check as well. So we'll go back to UJ, and that's going to be it for today. Like I said, a quick one. Just wanted to do a recap of the day, and hopefully you can get something out of it. Thank you.